For time beyond memory, people have experienced at first hand physical, visual and auditory events which could not be explained, and so it was feared. Today, we call this the paranormal. Our podcast will delve into this world of the unknown. So sit back and join Tina, Jake, Chris, Bridget and Bill and journey into the darkness with us. Welcome to Paranormal Researchers Ireland podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 9 of Paranormal Researchers Ireland podcast. So there's myself, Tina, Billy, Chris and Jake, and we're going to have a little chat this evening about shadow people and black-eyed children. So we're going to hop over to Chris for the intro.
Yeah, how you doing, guys? So this is what's the word I look for? It wouldn't be one that I'd be very I won't say very knowledgeable on, but I have heard of them. And I've heard of a couple of stories involving them as well. So it's two phenomenon in relation to black-eyed children and shadow people there, as Tina was saying. It's not a new thing. It's been documented, I suppose, or the stories have been told for many decades. And a common trait with the black-eyed children is usually 9 times out of 10 they'll appear or they'll show themselves at night time, and they'll usually come up to a person's house and start knocking on the doors or start knocking on the windows, and their main goal, I suppose, or the main thing to keep repeating over and over is let us in, we want to get in. I did a bit of research there obviously today before we came on, a couple of websites and all that kind of stuff, but the main common traits with them is their eyes are slightly enlarged and just pure blackness. No kind of any word I'm looking for. Any
Emotion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very emotionless, and they strike fear in the individual. It's nearly instant fear as well. That the individual that experiences them suffers from, for want of a better word. They have as well approached people in woodlands, and when people are parked in their cars, they've walked up to the car as well. And they've been linked to strange deaths, illness, hauntings, and all that stuff. As regards shadow people, they're, I done a bit of research there today as well. They're usually seen from the corner of the eye, or you can get the full apparition where the shadow appears directly in front of you. And another form that I associated very closely with shadow people was the common, the Hat Man. He's actually very common to be associated with shadow people, and sleep paralysis as well. So we'll get a little bit into that as we move along. Yeah, that's a brief introduction to what we're going to be talking about tonight.
That was a great 2-hour chat. Thank you, Chris.
That was great. So tune in next time.
Great editing, Billy.
So let's say a little bit here, you know about shadow people. So shadow people is huge in the paranormal.
Yeah.
But then most, like, let's say the medical end of it as well, most people that have experienced have been on some sort of hallucinogenic. It's been reported.
Possibly, absolutely, and you can understand. I looked into it there today. We're actually talking about it before we came on. Was the visual illusion.
That's it. It's because the shadow people are known. It's the peripheral vision.
Peripheral, yeah.
Yeah, so most sightings of shadow people aren't right in front of your face, or they're not. Yeah, it's the corner. And that's where a lot of people, if they're on hallucinogenics or if they're on some sort of substance, it's the peripheral vision.
Yeah.
That they have more experience, or I haven't experienced it myself.
We've done a number of investigations where sometimes people they see a mass in the corner room that's darker than the darkness that you're in, the blackness that you're in. And I wonder if that's something similar, but it's, and the Hat Man as well is associated something similar with the black-eyed children, where there's mysterious deaths and stuff like that. But it's kind of probably similar to the Mothman.
Yeah, well, that type of. Yeah, he was like an omen of doom or something like that. Like the
Hat Man seems to have the same.
Oh yeah.
the same kind
Mm.
of lore about it.
Absolutely. That someone close to you, or you're going to experience a tragedy, and that's why he appears. But thing I just want to highlight, and we were talking about it, was sorry that the rattling in the background, guys, has been awesome. My apologies. So the Association of Psychological Science, actually, I was on a website today, and that came up, and it was about visual illusion, and they said that the brain may from time to time fill in what we actually see in our peripherals. So if you're looking, what I took from that is that if you're looking straight ahead and what's in your peripherals, it's like the brain's remembering what you've seen.
It's trying to make sense of it, and it puts a shape that
would be the same as pareidolia.
Yeah.
The very same, except pareidolia is filling in what's in front of you.
Yeah, and it makes a face, something that your brain recognises.
Yeah. So
like
actually, that's really interesting.
It's like filling the blanks nearly. That's what I take from it anyway.
It's an optical illusion.
And again, that's where a lot of people say they might see shadow people in the peripherals, like it's something that's there, but when you look directly at it, it's gone.
It's also related to sleep paralysis. And there have been occasions where people have reported it, like the hag and the shadow person, and it can be seen in the corner of the room, just standing looking at them. Yeah. And that's kind of like it's kind of like the dream state where you're kind of not awake, not asleep, when you're not in REM sleep. And REM sleep is when you're fully asleep, so it's kind of like in between that and you're just drifting. And it's very your brain can it's like a projector. You can see things that aren't there.
That's exactly like the Hatman is associated very much so with sleep paralysis, and the common traits of himself is he's approximately 6 to 10 feet tall. I don't know how that's approximately, because
about my height.
That's a very big gap.
He's about my height, and handsome.
I think Billy's suffering sleep paralysis at the moment.
I'm hallucinating.
He's approximately 6 to 10 feet tall. Sometimes has red eyes, and sometimes doesn't.
It's very similar to the Mothman.
Yeah, the red eyes.
Yeah, the red eyes. Yeah.
Wears a hat and a trench coat.
They also say that because there's so many people, different claims on the Shadow Man. So some people claim, and it's all like these conspiracy theories, or you know what I mean. Some people claim that they're time travelers or interdimensional beings on a visit to our current time and place.
Yeah, and they're thought to be, I think in Islam, I think the jinn.
Yes,
Jinn, I've seen that as well.
Yeah.
And I think Native American Indians have them in their lore as well.
And some people think it's actually former loved ones coming back to check on you, and then you have the counter opposite of that. Others think that they're actually evil and demonic.
Yeah, there's so many theories.
To be honest with you, shadow people are just in like shadow people are whatever everybody thinks they are. There's like
whatever your perception is.
Whatever your belief is.
So that's it. Yeah. One thing I remember when I first got into paranormal investigations, the team that I had started had a huge interest, and it was, I don't know what had happened at the time, because this would have been over 10 years ago, probably over 10 years ago, and it was the black-eyed children. Yeah. That was huge at the time. I think at the time, maybe something had happened over in America, but there was a big thing about it. But I did see, I did see, Billy, you were on that team.
Yeah, I was on that team,
There was a big thing about the black-eyed kids, and like the Mirror had covered it, and then Jake there, when he was doing his little bit of research, he had seen the Independent had covered Shadow.
They did become popular in the 2000s.
Yeah.
As in, they were seen.
I think there's a movie. Is there a movie on
this? There is a movie.
Movies on everything now, isn't there?
There is a movie.
You couldn't miss that opportunity about a movie.
It's like in that movie Children of the Corn, the kids, the kids have black eyes and that. I think that predates sightings of the. I know the Shadow Man goes back centuries, but I think the black-eyed children is recent. They're also reported around UFO hotspots.
Yeah, and so that's another thing. Apparently, an association with them is an odor. You get a very strong smell of sulfur. And they've linked that to UFO sightings
and telekinesis.
So,
they can talk as well, like Dr. X, and you don't move their mouths. But
I think I just want to highlight as well, and we're kind of jumping in between, which is brilliant. As regards the Hat Man, Shadow People, and Black-Eyed Children, the thing I just got down there about the Hat Man as well is that if he does appear to you, he usually remains silent. He doesn't actually touch you or say anything. He just watches you from a distance, or he can hover
he doesn't
over you.
move.
He doesn't. Yeah, he just
Yeah,
stays
he's
in
just
the
stagnant,
one
yeah.
position. So my first question is: do you think that is just sleep paralysis, or do you think?
Again, as Tina said a few moments ago, I think it's what your belief is. If you actually see one and you know you're awake, and who are we to tell somebody
Yeah,
that they didn't see it or they didn't witness it?
Yeah.
You know, I certainly wouldn't do that to somebody. That's their belief. You know, like
can I
Tina
ask
has a
you a
good
question
saying.
while you're still on that, Billy?
Yeah.
I'm just picking on you now.
You're okay.
I'm just picking on Billy. Just while we're on the subject, Billy, would you consider, like, if you've seen something in the corner of your eye or in your peripherals, as we're talking about there, it doesn't have to be like just a shadow or a movement or something like that. Would you take that as there's something there? Or would you need more?
I have obviously on investigations seen things in the corner of my eye, but I kind of think I'd need to see it straight
Yeah,
in front of me to
Yeah.
witness it, because again, everybody knows that your imagination is your worst nightmare or your worst enemy, I should say,
Yeah.
in anything paranormal. So I think I'd have to see it in front of me, and it would have to be like a definitive shadow that I
Yeah.
know nothing is causing the shadow.
What would you think? Like, do you think something at the corner of your eye? Do you think it's something there, or would you have to see it?
I mean, different times, you know, though I've seen something out of the corner of my eye, and no, I question.
Yeah.
Do you know what's really funny is because the amount of places that we have gone, daytime and nighttime, the amount of places that we have gone and we've seen different things,
Yeah.
and we'd always question ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, so if I was sitting at night and I seen something, I would personally think it was one of my eyelashes that had become unstuck.
Eyelash. Here's before we move, because I'm going to ask Jake the same question. I'm going to throw this in here. Actually, no, Jake. I'll let you answer first because I've just thought of something.
Yeah, let Jake answer that one. He's not getting
If you
away.
just saw...
At the corner of your eye.
No, personally, I wouldn't really think of it as... Like, even if you done it yourself, if you sit in a dark room where there's like a little light and look at
Yeah.
it for long enough, it'll start disappearing.
Yeah.
Because it's just
Mhm.
your vision, you know what I mean?
Even the blinking scenario.
Yeah.
When you blink, you'll see the outside.
Exactly, yeah. I'd be thinking more of that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I'd be, to be honest with you, I'm saying exactly.
You'd have to see it straight on
Exactly.
and know that there's nothing else causing it.
Exactly.
Here's
yeah.
the thing, right? And you're going to think, but let me finish the sentence before you judge me.
We never judge you,
Let me
Chris.
finish the paragraph or the essay. So, we all here sitting at the table have a pair of eyes. Well, yeah, we all have a pair of eyes. Floaters. You have
Yeah.
some floaters in the eye.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's this? No, I'm not saying this is what it is. But were you ever sitting there next minute, it just catches your attention and you're going,
Yeah.
"Ugh."
If you're looking up at the blue sky, you
Yeah.
see it.
It's something in the jelly substance of your eye. I'm not sure the name of it, but it's something to do with the jelly substance, and it breaks off or something like that.
You're not cleaning your eyes?
No, everybody has it. It's microscopic
Really?
on your retina.
What's to say? Because they moved, and do they ever try look at one? It just shoots off to the
Yeah.
right or shoots off to the left.
Yeah,
That's,
just because they're hiding on you, they're playing hide and seek.
yeah.
That's-
What's to say? What's to say? Floaters aren't the shadow, but no, I'm messing. No, what's to say? That could be a possibility, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's definitely something on your retina, on the back of your retina. I can, yeah.
No, we're going
I
to
can.
have lots of doctors and eye specialists texting in saying, no, it's not. It's an eyelash that's trapped in your eye.
Oh, my eyelashes I put in today. Sorry, guys.
But no, listen, absolutely. And it was just something I was thinking of there while you were talking. And everyone has experienced that at time going, Amelia, wondering, would that play a role as well at some time?
I don't think so. Personally, and I'm not shooting you down,
No, well, listen. Enough.
but I certainly, I don't think, I think that's just something biological. Now, if you saw it against a candlelight maybe or something like
Yeah.
that, you might perceive it as something.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, I genuinely don't know, but I personally think not.
So, Shadow People, the Hat Man, and I'm just going to jump to, because we're going to be covering all this again anyway. I'm going to go back to the Black-Eyed Children, alright? So, They usually appear in pairs, in old-fashioned clothes. They're in a trance-like state, and as you were saying earlier, Billy, no emotion. Just
Yeah.
like neither happy nor sad, nor it's like they're emotionless and just or just there, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. I was listening to a video earlier on today, which I actually love. May as well give the credit. Bedtime Stories. Listen, check it out. Anyway, we mentioned that the first case where it became really popular was 1996,
1996, yes.
and it was a gentleman by the name of Brian Bettel. If that maybe I'm pronouncing, you know me in pronouncing things by this stage. But anyway, he posted online on a website. I think it was a creepypasta website, but he said he was posting a check in his local town, and he was in the car when two boys approached him. Said that they wanted to go see a movie, but they had forgot their money and left it at home, and they needed a lift. Obviously, he felt a bit sorry for them. And maybe times were different back then. He said, "Yeah, I'll bring his back or whatever." But when he went to open the door, he realised that their eyes were just total pitch black, a little bit enlarged, and there was immediate fear. But they kept reaffirming that we're just children, don't worry about us, don't worry, we're just children, all that, which would be weird in itself. Obviously he was struck by sudden fear. They became angry, and they insisted for him to let them into the car. And obviously he didn't. He locked the doors and drove off, but when he looked in the mirror, they were gone. So that was apparently the first kind of this kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? This recent spat of cases, maybe the strong word, that kicked off that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when he posted that online, that opened up a huge door of loads of people putting it up that they had seen. So I think, they trace it back to 1990s, but it was just he opened the door, like other people had experienced this, but they just had never posted it.
Well, I know back in the 60s and 50s, I was watching a TV show the other night. I don't remember the name of it, but Unexplained Files or something. I can't remember the name of it, but people were afraid to report UFOs because they were getting chastised a lot. So I think
on
things
Netflix,
like
was it?
Yeah,
We
the new
watched
thing on
Unexplained.
Netflix.
What
is it? Do you know what it is?
Unexplained Files or
Files,
something. It only came out
it's
there
really
last
good.
week.
There's different topics.
Yeah, but
on
older
ghosts
people said
and-
they wouldn't come out about it because they'd be they'd be
It's like a stigma.
wouldn't be believed and be called mad and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think probably with the black-eyed children.
I suppose as well, the internet was just taken off as well. So
And they had-
word might not have got around.
yeah.
Say if we said tonight at this table, or like I've seen Shadow Person, but they probably get to another 20 people.
And I don't know how people didn't hear them because I had two number ones. Am I talking about the same subject?
You
here?
just have to. You had
Have
to.
they got a new single out?
No, we're getting back on topic. I think it was just.
four number ones, Billy.
I think it was just people were afraid.
Well,
to
people
report
came
it.
out with their stories after this, and there was another story that came out, and it was 2016, so that's recent enough.
Yeah,
and it was a family in Vermont, and they had let, because a lot of these people have given accounts of they're in their apartment or their house, and it's a banging on the door, and they look out, and there's two kids, because as Chris said, it's usually two children, and they look and the eyes are black, so they don't let them in for whatever reason. But this particular lady did let them in, and her account was that she let them in, and it was when they came into the family room and she seen their eyes. It was freezing night out and it was snowing, so she felt bad leave them outside, and she hadn't seen their eyes. When they came into the sitting room, she seen their eyes. The eyes were black, and her husband's nose started bleeding.
You read that one?
Yeah, and because I'm just giving a short version of it, the nose started bleeding, and then they said that they're waiting for their mum and dad, and they sort of speak in monotone. They're waiting for the mum and dad, and as she was tending to him, I think the mum and dad, or they said that their mum and dad arrived, but they had gone. That was it, they were gone. The husband, or no, start bleeding, or he's did, but anyway, he got skin cancer, severe skin cancer, and she suffered with like a load of health things after that. And she thinks it was from letting these kids in, and she never found any trace of them after that.
It's so close to UFO sighting.
But
Oh
that's-
yeah,
yeah,
that's it.
Exactly,
really
Billy.
close.
And that is actually, or it was actually, I was listening to today, who was talking about that. Apparently, they're linked to the Men in Black as well.
Well,
Meant to be seen.
you
with the Men in
know,
Black.
you know
Yeah.
the Greys. You know,
Yeah.
these famous aliens.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm just surmising here. Maybe it's just their way of trying to so people kind of, maybe they have cloaked themselves to look like these, and
Yeah.
they're because the Greys' eyes are pure black as well,
Yeah.
and there's no
Large.
soul apparently, and
Yeah.
large eyes. So maybe it's something to do. There could be I think actually, now that I said that, I think I've read somewhere, seen somewhere that they are a hybrid of the aliens and humans. Now
Yeah.
I'm getting into conspiracy theories here, but I think I've read somewhere that that's what people believe they are as well.
Yeah, because some people think that the black-eyed children are vampires.
Yeah.
Some think they're demonic.
Demonic, yeah.
So, like the Shadow Man, people have all their accounts. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Just
But
can't
there's
get a
something
break.
about
Yeah.
Get a break.
And that word I was trying to think of, there was a
Misunderstood.
stigma. People are afraid to
Stigma, yeah.
report because of stigma that goes with, I've seen an alien. You know?
Yeah. It's your credibility and your reputation. Probably,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. It's people have and fear of
The
what,
professional people
yeah.
like cops and
and it's the fear of what
Stuff I've
might
seen.
happen. You
Yeah.
know, or what people might think of you.
you lose your job, you lose your family. People have lost their families over it.
During that video as well, I was listening to there's a place in the UK, Cannock Chase, that's said to be haunted by 3 children that were murdered by a serial killer. Raymond Morris back in the 1960s.
I read that one
Did
as
you?
well. Yeah.
And again, there's one of them is said to be a black-eyed child that screams for help. Obviously, when you get there, you witness it, but nothing else happens after that. It's just there and gone. You know what I mean? Apparently, that's been happening for the last 35 years. So if there's anyone listening that's from there, let us know if that's
Are there
happening.
reports of interaction? Or is it
I
like
didn't
stone
see-
tape kind of where it's just playback?
See, it could be that. It could be stone tape theory. And as I said, the video I was listening to there didn't really go into much for that. It was just it's occurring there.
Yeah, if anybody has any information on that or has witnessed or knows anybody.
And an
Great.
interesting thing I read is that they carried out tests on like people's perception and all that stuff, and sometimes a lot of the tests came back that with a trickery of the light can cause their perception of the eye and all to be black. And
Yeah, if their eye sockets are set back a bit and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
or they're wearing sunglasses.
or really dark makeup.
Just cool kids. Just cool kids. Goths. No, we're not saying anything about goths, by the way.
Yeah, we're not Billy. You're the one. That,
No, I'm not.
but it's just like my opinion. I think a lot of it could be trickery of the light, trickery of the eye, your imagination, all that kind of stuff. Like, is there 2 children standing at the door? Quite possible. Do you let them in? Do you not let them in? Would you be letting 2 children that are standing at your door in the house at 11 o'clock at night?
I wouldn't let them in at 11 o'clock in the morning.
That's what I'm saying to you.
Yeah.
So we know what Tina's answer is,
Yeah.
but but let's honestly, if 2 kids pop around to your door, be it they're wearing old-fashioned clothes, if they have normal, I'm questioning it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Listen, you're not getting in. Who
No
are
way,
you?
absolutely not.
You know
No
what I
way.
mean? And that was an interesting thing as well. Do they always stay children? Do they grow up?
That's it. So, is there black-eyed babies, black-eyed children, black-eyed
I
teens,
know there's black-eyed peas. Boom, boom.
black-eyed adults? And
Yeah.
do they
When does it
stay
stop?
that
Yeah.
age?
When does
Yeah.
it stop?
Black-eyed elders.
Yeah. But would you?
No.
Forget about the whole black-eyed children and the shadow people and all that kind of stuff. If anyone pops over to your door after probably 9 o'clock at night, you're already on the fence.
I'm not answering the door, to be honest with you. Just like
Be arsed.
And if someone,
Netflix, I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
if some random person approaches you and you're in the woods, now don't ask me why you're in the woods. Billy's probably burying a body or something. But if someone walks over to you,
Again,
you're probably on the fence as well. Like
Yeah,
defense
they
mechanisms.
they probably have handcuffs and a blue light on their car.
And the one thing is a lot of nosebleeds seem to,
Yeah.
like
Associated.
people that have encountered them, it seems like a lot of nosebleeds.
And that comes with radiation as well. And apparently, where they've been, they have brought Geiger counters and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and the radiation has in the atmosphere or in
Been
that area
changed
has
or higher
it's,
or
it's got higher.
yeah. What if the person, now this is just me being me, but what if the person has issues with their eyes and it is actually a medical condition? looking for
Then
help.
go to a doctor. Don't come to my house.
But if they're genuinely looking for help, they want a lift.
Um,
You get what I'm trying to say? Like, it could
it's-
be...
well,
Well-
that's just if somebody needs help. Like, if somebody needs help, are you a good person? You're going to help them, or are you
Well, do you
an
know
arsehole and going to go, yeah, whatever?
are black eyes biologically possible? So it says that a little bit of research I done, it said that they're not. Human eyes can range in light blue or grey or hazel, but black is not possible. And green is it says green is the rarest of all human eye colours.
Green, is it?
Yeah, that's the rarest.
You know, your pupil can
really?
expand, and some people have two pupils in their eyes, so
Yeah.
that might give the appearance.
Well, sure, like David Bowie is the
Yeah,
thing I think of straight away, like the really small... different colour eyes?
yeah, different colour eyes, and I
Didn't
think
he?
you two
Was that-
pupils. Yeah, different colour eyes. Yeah, huskies and all get it as well.
Aye,
Yeah,
aye.
huskies get it.
Oh, yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen it in huskies, but it's like what you were saying, like if people have taken a substance, the pupils can really dilate as well.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think they can dilate to the...
Black.
But if you're like, your pigmentation's quite big, so if you
Yeah.
if it goes up to that nearly, because if you shine a torch, your pupil shrinks,
shrinks.
and if you're in the dark,
Definitely.
it opens up a lot. So because it's trying to see, you know.
But I think a thing we're all on the same line here, is that there's a lot of things playing a role in this discussion. I think
Yeah.
because you've got the peripherals of your own eyes, you've got your own, I suppose, and correct me if I'm wrong, you've got your own imagination. If I sit you down into this room here tonight and say there's a shadow person that's going to walk by at 10 o'clock every night, you're going to see a shadow at 10 o'clock tonight.
You're gonna get paranoid, yeah.
Yeah, you've got lighting factors. You've got the realistic scenario. Is it actually a real person looking for help, or is it in an area where you've been told the urban legend is that a 9-year-old girl walks that bridge? Do you know what I mean?
But
So
then,
there's a lot of
but then
things.
there's that, again, as we always say, there's that 1%. Like, is it a genuine case that somebody? Because again, getting back, Tina's always said we can't tell somebody they haven't seen something.
Oh no, absolutely not.
No.
Yeah.
There's people that you'll talk to and you know that they haven't seen something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
You'll
mean?
know straight away.
Yeah, you know straight away. But then there's that 1%, and it's just the way they speak. You know that whatever they've seen, they believe they've seen it.
But it's known as an urban legend, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
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 Black-eyed children
Yeah.
is known as an urban legend.
Yeah.
I think as well we did a brief chat about before we came on was remember you mentioned it earlier, Bill, about the projection scenario.
Yeah.
There's a thing called, forgive me, I forget what, it would have been a book I read it in, about psychological projection. And again, it's like a projection of your mind, your imagination. So if you're thinking so much about something, or you're imagining something so much, you think you're seeing it, but it's just a projection of what is in your mind.
You're
You know what I mean?
tired, you can hallucinate. Like,
Oh, no,
if you haven't
absolutely.
slept for a good while,
Yeah.
you know, you can. It's like you look at a flickering light in the dark and you close your eyes, you still see that light.
And you blink, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Jake was
You
saying.
just actually
earlier.
mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
There is visual hallucinations, but again, that's that 1%. That's what we're interested in.
Yeah. I suppose the next question is, have you ever seen a shadow person or experienced shadow people?
I haven't, but we had that really
I
the most
remember-
interesting
yeah.
case.
You want to just run through that again, Tina, because they mightn't have heard it on the other.
Yeah, that was a private investigation, probably the one of the most interesting that we were all involved in. And that involved a guy and his partner, a house. And he said that this shadow person that he's seeing straight ahead, so it wasn't his peripheral vision, and it was like 7 foot hat, wasn't it, Chris? Was it a hat on him?
Yeah.
And he had huge things going on in his house constantly. So, but we did find out that a few other houses in that area had paranormal. Now, we didn't knock on their door or anything, but we had heard that a few others had paranormal experiences in that area as well. Do you remember?
I actually think, Tina, we spoke, and that's I remember that case very well. But I think we might have interviewed somebody who saw the Hat Man as well.
We did
with
in
his
a
friend
field.
in a field, and they
Yeah.
saw it
That's what I was
twice.
thinking of
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
And a
yeah.
dump.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Do you remember
Oh,
it was a
that one
dump
as well.
like a rubbish place, rubbish
That
dump?
scared the
And I
life
think
out
it
of
was a
him.
field. They saw the cornfield.
Field, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was sort of 2 cases. Me, I've never seen it, but then we've done cases where we've
People
had
have.
to look into these things.
Yeah.
Remember the amount of research we done
Oh.
on shadow people
yeah.
and the hat, and like there was a lot of research, even drawing it out. Do you remember your man
that's
drew it
right.
out for us? And
Yeah, and
my
we
God,
had.
there was loads.
I don't think I'd actually heard about it before that. I think it was just when he said that. then I
Same,
was like,
probably, yeah.
The thing is as well, there's no definitive answer of what they, there's an inverted brackets here, what they are. Like no one's 100%. It's like anything, I suppose. Like no one's officially came out and said, or sorry, wrong word. No one has really went down the road and said, right, this is what they are.
Yeah, scientists like to call it a pseudorscience.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
You know, and that's a word that's thrown about a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm very careful with that word because we always get back to it. We've mentioned it 3 or 4 times tonight. If somebody thinks they've seen it and they're adamant they've seen something, like you can't say they haven't seen it. And some people are so genuine.
What do you think of shadow people, Billy? What would your view be?
I think
Have you
it's
ever seen?
I haven't seen anything. Obviously, my mind's played tricks on me. I think when I'm in locations like getting back to Loftus Hall and other areas in the Hellfire Club, when you see you're looking into the darkness and there's something darker. I think, but I think that might be your mind's eye playing a trick on you. But I don't know. I actually don't know. I haven't seen. I think to see it, you'd want to see it in broad daylight, and you'd want to see that there's nothing else casting a shadow in front of you, and this thing is just
Before
there.
you'd be 100%.
Yeah, because I don't think they're actually on the ground. I think they're hovering. Well, they're 7 foot, 6-7 foot high. They're big beings, if you want to use that word. But I don't think they're actually touching the ground.
No, I've genuinely never experienced anything like that. Like we'll always be sitting there, probably in the middle of the night at some time watching TV or something like catch your eye. But I've never turned around and said, "Oh Jesus, that." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I keep going back to the scenario. I don't know if I go back to the floater scenario.
I don't know where you got this one from,
But it could be them.
but go with it. It could be. It could
But
be.
I've never I've never.
They're translucent.
Yeah,
they're not pure. Like if you're seeing something that's like in your eye that you can actually see, there's something wrong. But these little floaters are actually translucent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a bare outline you can see as well, which is true.
Yeah.
But I've never been in a situation where I've said, "Oh my God, a person or a being," as you were saying, or a entity.
And there are 2 types of floaters, Chris, but we won't get into the second one.
Like, what's your opinion? Have you ever seen a shadow person or anything?
No, I've never seen one myself. I'd agree with Billy on that.
Just going back to Bill, there's 2 types. Black-eyed children, Billy.
Yeah, it's a pretty recent phenomenon. If somebody says they've seen it, I can't say they haven't. I personally don't believe it.
You're allowed to have your.
But thank you, Chris. Thank you. That's the first time you've ever said that to me.
You're allowed to have your opinion.
Thank you.
Once it's a short opinion.
I'm allowed out of the cage today, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Phew. No, personally, I don't know, Chris. It's kind of related to the UFO phenomena. So who am I to say it's not real? I think it's kind of. I actually personally think it goes hand in hand with the UFO
So do
phenomena.
I.
Really?
Yeah.
So that was my next thing. I was genuinely about to ask if you were to pick something. Like, I know very high insight here, but if you were to pick something, what would you label them as, or what would you know what I mean? So you go down the road of UFO.
Well, you and Tina have on your research have mentioned that they're related to the Men in Black as well. So, and that's a phenomenon. I think that's more in America. I don't know if the black-eyed children have been seen outside of America. Actually, have they? I actually don't know because any readings I've done.
It's on 2 world tours, Billy. Sorry, I had that.
They've been in Top of the Pops.
2 world tours.
2 world tours.
But no, that you remember the UK apparently.
Oh yeah. Well, then they have.
Because the case is over in the UK.
I don't listen to Chris, as everybody will.
They couldn't get
realise.
visas.
Yeah. Well, if they're related to UFOs, I suppose they can go anywhere they like.
Yeah, like it's. Do you know what I mean? They're interdimensional.
Interdimensional beings.
Oh, this is what I love about this podcast.
That's good.
We're full of knowledge.
They're aliens, but they're limited just to America.
I'm not saying they're aliens, but they're aliens.
But I would Okay, so a question just for the four of us.
Yeah.
Do you class black-eyed? You've answered it, Billy.
Yeah.
Black-eyed kids, would they be more on the, what is it, supernatural or paranormal? I would.
Supernatural, I think.
Yeah, that's more UFOs and all, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Cryptozoology type of thing.
Yeah. So my view of the black-eyed children, I wouldn't class it as paranormal, as in spirits. I wouldn't class them as that. I would class them more
Otherworldly, outerworldly.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
otherworldly, but not from...
more UFO-like.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
would think. What do you
Yeah.
think?
I know I'd love them to be, but no, I'd be of the same opinion.
Because
like, I'd
spirits don't make your nose bleed. They don't have, like, people haven't got sick from it. You know what I mean? If somebody sees a ghost, they're not going to, they don't have nose
Less
bleed
of a
straight away.
demonic, Billy.
Unless,
Yeah.
yeah.
You'll get sick. Do you never see The Exorcist?
Have you ever heard this phrase, sick to death?
There's a lot of things I haven't
Poor
heard
Billy.
in my life.
Will you ever just stop?
I know. But anyway,
I'm only messing.
But
I'm not.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
no, I'd like to think. Oh, jeez, imagine if someone's listening to experience them. Like, I'd love to think that they're entities
If
that
anybody has experienced it,
absolutely let us know. But I would be of the same. I'd class them as nearly like messengers, something
Messengers,
like that.
but definitely to do with UFOs or
Yeah.
what are UAPs now. Can't
Yeah.
use UFOs anymore.
And underwater phenomena as well.
Yeah, phenomenon.
That could be another episode. But and again, it leaves it up to you to whether if you want to let them in or not.
Yeah.
As Tina was saying there with the last story, when they went in, but I read today that they went into some places and they went absolutely ballistic. They just went frantic. And, other places then they just went like still, just
Yeah.
literally inanimate is probably the best word I could put in there. That they just stood there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's an interesting phenomenon, but
Now the Hat Man or the Shadow, I think that would be more paranormal.
yeah.
Like I think the other one is more supernatural, kind of alien, UAP, UFO.
AVP, Alien vs Predator.
Yeah, I think that's, but that, again, that's going back in the Native American lore as well.
You could open up a whole.
There's
thing
been
there.
interviews with elders and stuff, and they talk about the Shadow Man and stuff like that. Yeah,
Like isn't skinwalkers and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff as well.
I think that's part of it.
yeah.
And again, going back to the gin.
Yeah.
And then not to drink, Chris. A few of them, you'll see a few shadows.
Absolutely. Which would you like to investigate? Or
The Shadow Man, I think.
eh?
Yeah, I think
Shadow. Yeah.
I'm gonna be so cruel to you now, Billy.
Why?
No way. And Tina's gonna throw it at her vape. She's vaping in the background there. She'll probably throw it at me. So absolutely, you'd love to investigate it, but
Yeah.
would you not think it'd be very hard to investigate? And the reason I'm saying it is because corner the eye stuff. Do you get me? Does that make sense?
Like, isn't paranormal hard to investigate anyway? And I'm not trying to be.
No.
Did I just hit a bullseye there? But that's what it's investigating anything in that science or in that area is very, very difficult and getting
Well, I've
evidence.
been one-upped, I suppose.
You want to ask me a question again, Chris?
No, what I mean, no, you're right, but what I mean is, like, in other words, I know we never use the word evidence because
Yeah.
what we're here to do, but from what we've talked about tonight, I'd assume, or it'd be my idea that it'd be hard to get that strand of, for want of a better word, evidence.
Yeah.
Because unless you're experiencing it yourself, like you can, like apparently shadow people, I've never heard a case where they've spoke to someone or knocked something over, or maybe they have, I don't know.
Yeah, but in saying that, they are reported to a location, whereas
Yeah.
the black-eyed children aren't, so
Yeah.
you wouldn't know where to start
Yeah.
with the black-eyed children. So at least with the shadow people, if somebody says they're
In this room,
usually
or-
reported, like if somebody sees one, somebody else will see it in the same area
Yeah,
10 years later. But the black-eyed children, they're not seen in the same area.
they wander.
Yeah, they wander. So it'd be nigh impossible.
Would you have a preference now?
Yeah, shadow people.
Shadow people as well.
Yeah, just for the fact, the stories I've heard, and to be honest with you, the black-eyed children, I would be less drawn to that just because I don't know. I just
Would you
I
not-
find
You don't like children.
Would you not go? Would you not? Would you not go after them and give them like 100 lines? Say, you shall not. I shall not knock the door 100 times.
possibly. And what do you think, Jake?
As Chris said, it would be interesting, but it would be difficult to
Yeah.
investigate, So
It'd be difficult to get to a location. Now, if somebody saw one tomorrow in the location where we are and said, right, we're after seeing 2 black-eyed children, call to the house, and
Yeah,
you know what I mean, then you could investigate it. But
Be straight there.
yeah,
But I have to say, the cases that we done connected to shadow people, and we didn't class them as shadow people cases. It was the people who came to us,
Came to us.
described them.
they had labelled it.
Yeah, they had labelled it shadow people. So 2 cases that we done that were connected to shadow people, as far as we know, are really interesting.
yeah.
And we put a lot of work
We
into
did.
the
We had
background of it.
hours,
So
hours, and
I don't know, that's probably why I find shadow people more interesting,
Yeah.
because we've done the cases
Yeah,
where
true.
we've never come across anything. The black-eyed children, we actually haven't come across a case that somebody has said, listen, they've knocked on my door. So we haven't done that case yet.
Yeah.
You know what I
don't know if
mean?
there's any cases in Ireland.
See, I didn't look from
Yeah.
that point of view. I didn't
Neither
actually
did
look.
I.
Just
If
look.
anybody out there is listening and you have experienced or you know somebody who has experienced the black-eyed children,
Let us
definitely
know.
shoot us a message.
Let us know on the socials, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be an interesting one actually to look. Is there any cases in Ireland? Because I definitely, from that point of view, didn't look.
I
Nothing
again,
came
getting
up,
back to, I
yeah.
personally think it's UFO hotspots.
Yeah, Yeah.
Definitely think it's to do with that.
It's an
Definitely.
interesting.
Which we will get into in another podcast.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
About 600 of them, Lane.
Yeah, we have a lot, guys.
But yeah, I suppose last question then. Billy, when did you become a shadow person? No,
When the sun was behind me. Boom, boom.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm all questioned out. All
Yeah.
questioned out.
I think we've covered what we could cover on that subject. It's with the evidence that's out there, it's a very, very difficult subject to
Yeah.
cover.
Yeah, I mean, we've done our research. Although there's loads of stories, all the stories are the same.
Yeah.
And it is, I mean, I suppose it's interesting. You could relay 50 stories here
Yeah.
on the podcast, but all the podcasts are the same. It's either they're in a car, the black-eyed kids
Yeah.
approach them, they're in a house, and there was a knock on the
They're
door.
silent.
Yeah, so there's no point in relaying
no.
over and over again all the same stories. And then the shadow people, I suppose there was more for us to relay because it
Yeah.
was the peripheral vision, and so it was a little bit more for
Yeah,
us.
and what's happened surrounding them.
Yeah, a little bit more paranormal, that end was.
There's more grit in it, I think, for me. That's, you know, what I mean, there's more to grasp, if that's a word that you could use. You know?
Absolutely.
No,
Yeah.
Billy Grad.
Oh yeah, I was told not to use that word actually. Oops.
So, final thoughts?
Absolutely excellent podcast. I think everyone's opinions are really important, and that's what we have here is opinions, guys. So if you have a different opinion, we're not going to discount that. But I just think, I think I've spoke about what I believe in it, or don't believe in it, whichever way that comes across. So yeah, that's my 10 cents on that, or 2 cents, sorry, or nonsense.
Nonsense.
Nonsense. Yeah. I just just one of the areas that it wouldn't even draw me. Like I wouldn't be,
Same. It's hard, isn't it?
kind of going, okay.
Black-eyed children, I had the interest in because when I first went into paranormal, there was something about it. I had shadow figures. Yeah, I've an interest in, but it's black-eyed children. It's not something that we've been pulled towards
be drawn
as a
to
team, isn't it? No.
And like I'm
Like
not trying to discount if anyone's had an experience, but it wouldn't be something where I'd be going, oh yeah, let's go there in a scenario. You know what I mean? And as regards shadow people, if it's full apparition in front of you, absolutely, totally interested. But me, from my point of view, if it's at the corner of the eye, I'd be like myself. If I seen something at the corner of my eye, I'd be doubting myself. You know what I mean?
That's usually me, Chris.
Every time I turn, you're there, Billy. But and again, totally not trying to discredit anyone or anyone's experiences, but at the corner of my eye, I'd be kind of going, weightless in front of it.
And these podcasts, guys, when we do joke a lot about our opinions and stuff like that, but they are just opinions. So if you're listening and you have seen something, like, we are absolutely not discounting it.
Absolutely.
We do take everything serious and people's experiences very seriously. You know?
Tina?
Yes, Christopher.
What's your final thoughts?
Christopher. I like that, Tina. That was good.
What's your final thoughts?
My final thoughts would be, anybody has experienced the Black Eyed Children, shoot us a message. If you have any stories, shoot us a message.
I just heard shoot us. As I was waiting, that pause was a bit too long.
So you're just emphasising that. Don't do that. Just send us a message.
Send us a message.
Message. Edit that out, Billy. Yeah. And yourself, Jake.
Yeah, it's interesting learning about it. I didn't know much about it before today, so.
Yeah. No, that's one thing. I wouldn't have known a whole lot about myself. Just about kind of heard, like, listening to videos and briefly reading up on it.
Do you not watch the videos? You just listen to them?
Yeah, well, yeah, I just listen. So yeah, over to you, Billy.
So guys, we hope you enjoyed this podcast. So Tina's going to see us out. It was really interesting. Really, really interesting talk, guys. Thank you again.
So I'll say goodbye from myself, Tina.
Bill.
Jake.
Chris, and of course,
stay spooky. You have been listening to Paranormal Researchers Ireland podcast. Intro and outro music, Nothing to be Scared of by Kakuru. Main theme background music, First Second by Jay Barton. Both intro, outro and main theme music sourced through the Epidemic Sound app. PRI podcast recorded and produced by Jake and edited and mixed by Bill using Adobe Audition. We hope you enjoyed our podcast, so why not join us for our next supernatural podcast coming very soon.